Is this movie really as bad as everyone says it is? I finally got to watching Chris Stuckmann's Shelby Oaks. I know, guys, I'm late to the party on this one. This movie's not playing anywhere near me, so I have to find a way to do it. And, well, I gotta sit through a film where the expectations are already dirt low. People are saying stuff like, this is terrible, the worst horror movie ever made. Stuckmann just failed miserably despite being a movie critic who studied film all his life. But is it really that bad? Listen, we are in the age of YouTubers breaking into the cinema scene, alright? We got the Raka brothers making films like Talk to Me, Bring Her Back, which are pretty good, critically acclaimed, and box office-wise are successful. You got Markiplier, who just came out with Iron Lung, which was a huge box office success for him. It beat The First Lady's film, it beat Send Help, Sam Raimi's film, it beat Jason Statham's film in the box office domestically on the weekend. That's crazy! And then we got Chris Stuckmann. Chris Stuckmann has been making this movie for, I think, 4 years? 5 years, maybe? Right? He's been a movie reviewer since, like, I started watching him in 2012, 2013, something like that. But he has been in the game for a while, and he started making this for years. I think he raised $1.4 million for this. I think a lot of it came from a GoFundMe, which is fucking nuts. That's crazy. But he still did it. He wound up with a horror movie. And you know what? Some could argue he sacrificed the best parts of his channel to do so. He's gotten a lot of controversy lately. He no longer gives negative reviews because he ain't trying to piss off some executives and producers and directors in Hollywood that he can have inroads and connections with so that he can make more movies. He's also started shilling for gambling. People think, is this guy broke and desperate for money since he ran out of it trying to fund Shelby Oaks? Who knows? But his channel has definitely taken a massive hit in the eyes of the public. But you know what? With all that being said, I still think what Chris Stuckmann did, for me, is somewhat inspiring because I'm a YouTuber who will definitely make a film one day. It's written, alright? It's written in the stars. It's gonna happen. But that's a goal that I and people like me will and should aspire to, and he did it. So I do find it a very inspiring story, despite all the weird stuff he had to do along the way. You got Keith David in this film. The guy who voiced Spawn. He's been in so many high-level films. Like, goddamn, dude, this guy's a great actor. He's not in it for that long, don't get me wrong. Probably would have cost a lot more money if he was, but he's great in it. Mike Flanagan. He's made some of the best shows ever. He is a horror connoisseur. He executively produced this film. In many ways, this has backfired on Mr. Stuckmann because he fulfilled his dream. But the sacrifice is, your dream is now out there for the public to see. We all know Chris Stuckmann got flamed for his infamous Batman v Superman script rewrite for a scene he did. Tell that to Zod's snapped neck. You know what I mean? Like, so people have flamed him. He's used to being ridiculed on the world stage. And now both critics and audiences are saying, your movie's not that good, mate. Your dream of making movies, what did it come to? But I need to see this objectively. Is it that bad? So I watched it. I'm going to review this film with non-spoilers in case you haven't seen it. If you don't care, you can go right to the spoiler part of this, but I'm going to give you an overview of this film and then my thoughts on it, generally, just real quick. So the plot is, basically, okay, I forgot the names of all the characters already. Not a great start. But this girl, who's the leader of this YouTube channel called the Paranormal Paranoids, well, she goes missing after visiting this destitute town called Shelby Oaks. The movie's about her sister trying to find her, looking at the found footage of her last videos that she made, and linking it to some very weird and supernatural stuff. That's all I'm going to say. Possibly demonic. The first 30 minutes of this movie I thought were very good. It gave the found footage, documentary kind of feel you would see from a movie like Lake Mungo. Clearly that's what's influencing the first part of this movie for Chris Stuckmann. And you know what? It is a pretty good hook. I'll be honest. I did enjoy the first 30 minutes and the whole documentary segment. I definitely think it's a strength of this movie. I will say, they do reveal a supernatural element within this documentary very quickly with a specific scene, with a specific footage that shows something. And I wish they had drawn that out for longer. I wish they had done more to make the audience think there was something there rather than tell them. Keep a bit of mystery, you know what I'm saying? But you know what? I still think the documentary element of it was good. And right after that, something occurs that launches us into the rest of the film. And I was like, this is a pretty sick opening. This is like a pretty cool first act of this film. The sister comes across footage, never before seen footage of her sister and what went down. And that paves the way for the next two acts with a very intriguing mystery setup as to what happened to the sister. And you know what? As good as that setup was, ultimately the payoff is not as good as it could have been, because the mystery behind all this, all the mysterious elements that you would want to garner on the way, all the clues, it's kind of all solved really quickly. And our main character is fast-tracked to the truth in a way that's so quickly that it doesn't leave room for any awe. It doesn't leave room for much horror or suspense. It kind of feels a bit hollow. She's kind of led to the main part of the story quicker than you would imagine. By the time she was there, in the area where a lot of shit's going down, where she finds certain things, there's still like 40 minutes of the movie left. I think this movie's like an hour and 20 minutes. It's not a very long movie. So for that reason, it doesn't feel like it made use of its hook as well as it could have at all. It does include a freaking demonic entity in it too. And the demonic entity elements are cool. Some of them at least are cool aesthetically. And the atmosphere of those scenes is pretty good. But there's nothing to them. I will say there are some cool concepts in this movie. Granted, you've seen them time and time again. He's not reinventing the wheel here. But the stakes don't feel high enough for it to be earned. We've seen this kind of shit. Demon possession, sacrifices, birth of certain things. We've seen it done many times better. Far, far better. Even the Lake Mungo documentary style stuff. There are things that Chris Stuckmann borrows from that he amalgamates in this film, but neither of those things come close to being as good as the influences that he got it from. And that's the case with a lot of filmmakers who try to do that. I understand it's not reserved for just Chris Stuckmann, but still. And there's something that happens at the end, a decision that the main character makes, that when I saw it happen, the way it was done, not even the decision itself, the way it was done, I was like, wait, what? And this is a character who makes a lot of dumb decisions in the movie. And granted, when I saw people talking about how dumb this character was, it didn't bother me as much when I watched the film, but when I think about it, it makes no sense what happened at the end of this film. And the problem is, there's not much character development to flesh the decision she makes out, because this decision leads to something cataclysmic at the end of this film, in the third act. What I will say all in all is, it starts out very well, but it ends flat and generic. It does feel like a generic less than B horror movie by the time it's all done. And after the first act, everything just feels really hollow. Barely any suspense. There's nothing that really pulls you in after that. This is the thing I'm noticing with creators who try to be filmmakers, is they have a lot of strengths that you can clearly see in the film, even with Markiplier and Iron Lung, right? I think Chris Stuckmann is a very skilled director, for example. I think the movie looks good, the atmosphere is good, the cinematography is good, it looks really good, right? I think he has some cool concepts. On paper anyways, and the aesthetic of those concepts looks fine. The writing, however, and this is a problem, pacing is a huge issue with movies nowadays. Either they're paced so quickly that you don't feel anything, or they're paced to death, to the point where you want to leave. I think that was my problem with Iron Lung. The writing behind this film is not strong at all. The characters aren't fleshed out at all, you don't care about them. The main lore itself also kind of doesn't make sense, besides looking cool. Even with Iron Lung, the lore stuff in this, the Eldritch concepts that they touch on, is sick. Sick to look at, and the end of this is pretty cool. Where it's the opposite case with Shelby Oaks, right? Where the beginning's great and the ending's not so great. But I do think Iron Lung is a very tedious film to sit through. And it's not because, your attention's all over the place, people's attention spans are broken. Listen, I will admit, I do have ADHD, but that's not the reason this film is mid to me. The reason this film is mid to me is because it's not written for well-balanced pace at all. It's written like somebody really tried to make a video game a movie, and you know exactly why that game shouldn't be made into a movie. Maybe a better writer could have done better. And listen, for a first-time filmmaker who was doing everything on his own in this, did a pretty good job. But still, the writing is a huge issue. I think it looks the part, Shelby Oaks. I think it looks the part. The setup has promise, but it doesn't live up to it. Spoiler talk now, alright? So, the sister gets kidnapped by a dude possessed by a certain demon. An incubus named Tarion. Alright? Tarion or whatever. You could see, this is a symbol for Tarion. It's a satanic demon symbol, right? So, she's been kidnapped by an incubus, and hellhounds work for the incubus. Hellhounds are his servant. They kill who he wants them to kill, and they lead who he wants them to lead. They track who he wants them to track, right? We kind of learn a lot of this through a book she randomly finds in her sister's room. She reads it all, and we get glimpses at pages. Oh, incubus, hellhounds, symbol of this, symbol of that. Like, everything that's in the film is kind of revealed to us in that book. It doesn't spoil what the reveal is, but it kind of does show, hey, there's an incubus here. He wants to impregnate someone. There are hellhounds that worked him. Oh, that explains the dogs that she's seeing. That explains the force that's surrounding this film. Everything's kind of explained to us in a book. It's funny, for someone who used to be critical of films that relied a lot on exposition, I don't know why Chris Stuckmann played a story out like this. Like, you're not telling the audience through words, but you're seeing it in a book. It's still kind of exposition. And then after all this, the hellhounds that she sees kind of lead her to the house where her sister's being kept. And this kind of doesn't happen as late in the film as you would think. She literally just finds her sister's, like, these lost tapes, sees the dude who kidnapped her sister, finds his prison cell where he allegedly died or whatever, then gets chased off by hellhounds. She follows to this house. And that's it. She finds her sister there. She finds this old lady there who's the mother of the dude who kidnapped her sister, who is now possessed by the incubus. This woman is. And her sister's being held captive in this, like, prison site. This prison, okay? The sister is basically held captive there because she is impregnated constantly by the demon Tyrion who possessed that one dude. He impregnated her, but there were a lot of stillborn deaths, miscarriages. A lot of the fetuses died that they had to bury. So he kept impregnating her until the one can be born, the true Antichrist. We're seeing a Rosemary's Baby plotline, Omen plotline yet again. We've seen it many times, and it's being done again. And it's a very, look, the idea of a demon impregnated woman constantly R-wording her, keeping her prisoner, that's a fucked up storyline, right? I don't know, the way it's revealed is just, the suspense is zapped out of it. But okay, all good. So she grabs her sister and they try to escape, but the incubus is still there. And the sister's like, no, we have to do something. The sister grabs a stick or something and goes upstairs where the mother who's possessed by the incubus is doing a blood ritual. She's cutting open her veins and spilling blood or whatever onto the baby. The blood of incubus is being poured on the baby. This woman who's done this was demonically using, like, levitation powers to throw these sisters around, okay? But then she dies from blood loss. Okay, so the main villain is now dead, and incubus, we don't know where he is because he no longer has a vessel to possess. But the baby's here. This baby of the devil. This woman, the main character that we've been following all movie, for some reason, like, it's like she's been spellcast or something. She just looks at the baby and she smiles. She's like, oh, it's so beautiful. And she decides to take it home with her. Like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you decide to raise this random demon child that you know has been part of the satanic ritual? It's probably the dumbest moment in the film, too. I was like, why would she do this? I understand, like, in the movie, it's inferred that she is someone who has dealt with miscarriages herself. She's wanted a child, and it's caused issues with her marriage. But it's not fleshed out enough for this to make sense. It's inferred, kind of, in one small scene with her, that her and her husband have had issues because of her sister's disappearance and the fact that she can't seem to get pregnant. They can't conceive a child. But this isn't fleshed out enough. Her husband barely is a character in this. She's, to be honest, barely a character in this. She's just kind of a character who just makes decisions in the film, and that's it. That's all she is. The baby's now being raised in their house. This woman, okay, she goes upstairs and finds her sister trying to suffocate the baby with a pillow. The sister who's been forced to give birth to this child. And the sister's like, we have to kill it. You don't know how dangerous it is. You don't know how evil it is because it's been birthed by by Tyrion, this incubus demon. So she's like, no! And she runs and tries to take the pillow, and then she pulls it away, and the sister goes flying out a window. The younger sister who has been kidnapped the entire film. She goes flying out a window. A bunch of hellhounds come and just start eating her and killing her. And this exact shot, she's forced to watch and scream. So the sister's not died, brutally, been killed, because this dumb chick decided to stop her from killing Satan's child. I get it. Oh, don't kill the baby. You don't know how evil the baby is, so your instinct as a mother is to protect the baby. I get it. But I feel like it's just a fucking shock value ending, you know what I'm saying? But this little sister gets, like, torn apart by the hellhounds. And then she is now the sole raiser of the child. She's the new mother. And Incubus, you can see Incubus behind her, putting his hand on her shoulder. Now she is the new possessed vessel. And it's revealed, like, oh, she was the one he really wanted the entire time. Because it's a big thing. This Incubus demon has apparently been watching her sister. But no, turns out the Incubus was watching both of them. Because he wanted the sister to be impregnated with the baby, and wanted her to raise the child. So that's a big twist at the end of the film. So does this work? I hope that all made sense to you. Because it's barely making sense to me. I think the incubus in this film is cool to look at. I think it's a cool looking being. It looks like an urukai, a jacked dark urukai with its red eyes. You know the urukai from Lord of the Rings? And they don't show a lot of it, which I'm glad. But its plan makes no fucking sense. Why would you go through such convoluted lengths to get this woman to raise the child of the mother who you've tortured and R-worded to get the child? Like, why? Why don't you just take the form of a lover who would eventually bang her sister anyways, and wait, what? Yeah, why would the incubus do this and R-word this? Why don't you just take the form of someone who flirts and seduces the sister and then conceive the child, do a weird blood ritual to it, just cut your hand or something and do it, and then just raise the child together without anyone knowing it's a demon child? Like, why would you do this? Maybe it was explained that it had to be done through Shelby Oaks, but why? Maybe Shelby Oaks was its home, but if you could come out and reach out to them outside of Shelby Oaks, in their childhood home, all those years back, why didn't you just, I don't know, why didn't you just take her then? Why did you wait for her to become an adult so you could possess a random inmate and R-word her? Why didn't you just take the form of a dashing dude that she met in college or something and then just impregnate her that way? Marry her, impregnate her, not let anyone know you've just birthed the Antichrist. You could have done that and it would have been so much easier. I don't know. Maybe Chris Stuckmann just wanted to make a really cool, edgy plot where a woman gets kidnapped and R-worded. The Hellhounds I hate, because they're like this plot device that's used to get her from point A to point B. They don't look that cool. When you do see them in full form, it's like a CGI monstrosity. Like, it doesn't look good at all. Like, I just don't like it. It's just like, oh, she follows these Hellhounds around, and they take her to the house, and that's how she gets to see her. That's how she finds her sister. It took the awe out of the mystery and suspense of the long journey she could have had to find her sister, making the payoff of her finding her sister much better. You know what I mean? I just think they're stupid. Yeah, the movie just kind of loses a lot of momentum out of the what I think is a really good found footage documentary format opening. I honestly wouldn't have minded if that was the whole film, a found footage documentary film like Lake Mungo. I think that would have been a lot cooler. I think it would have been cool to see her start her own kind of mini documentary going to Shelby Oaks, continuing where her sister left off. It's similar to Blair Witch, right? Where they go to the sequel, where they go to find their siblings, except much better. And then she comes across this house. Like the template was kind of laid out for Stuckmann. I guess he just wanted cinematically to create a normal film after and just try to fuse them together, but it just didn't work. This is the storyline of this woman's journey. She finds the tape of her sister, she sees the inmate who kidnapped her sister, finds the prison cell of that inmate, gets chased off by hellhounds and led to the house where her sister is. Then finds her sister, so that's the journey, right? Nothing to it. Finds the sister, right? They take the baby that's been possessed for some fucking reason, then accidentally kills sister and becomes possessed and raised by the Antichrist. Like this, it's a silly story, in my opinion. Her decision to take the baby, again, I don't think it makes any sense. There's not enough emphasis placed on her yearning for a child. There's more emphasis placed on her just yearning for her lost sister than anything else. So this decision to keep this Antichrist baby didn't make sense. And even then, if you still had her character make the decision and developed it enough, I don't even think that's the problem. It's the way it's done is so weird. She just looks at it like it's the most beautiful thing she's ever seen, despite all the shit she just saw. She saw her sister being imprisoned by the people who made this baby. She saw the baby being made part of this ritual where the woman feeding it her blood is literally throwing you around and looking like a demon. And you're still like, oh, it's so cute, we have to take it. It's actually becomes a different character. I don't know. Oh, but you could say she was possessed at that point. Okay, I guess. But at that point, why can't Incubus just possess anyone he wants? Just off the person you are possessing and go into them. The lore doesn't add up. I'm still grateful that these YouTubers were able to do this. Iron Lung is killing it in the box office. Don't think it's that good of a film, though. Markiplier's name and the fact of it's Iron Lung being made into a movie, it's a YouTuber making a film, that's what's selling it. Shelby Oaks is very similar. I think Shelby Oaks, entertainment-wise, is stronger, right? I can probably rewatch Shelby Oaks, even though I'd never want to. Iron Lung I'd never rewatch ever. There's just no point in it for me. I'd have to skip the entire first hour to the last part. I can watch the last part on YouTube. So I think there's a writing issue here, but I do find their stories inspiring. I think the issue is one movie was just a bit generic and hollow. The other one was almost too different. Like it was trying to do its own thing, but by doing that, you lose me by doing that. So those are my thoughts on that. All right, no hatred to any of those people. I support them fully in their endeavors, but you just got to be honest and objective. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one Coke line at a time.